Welcome to Nimin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. So wasn't able to stream last week, so super excited to hop in here for a little bit today. D is not going to be streaming with me today, but he is possibly going to be swinging by in the chat. So, I'm still adjusting from the travel and all of that good stuff. So because of that, not 100% sure how long we're going to be going today, but I'm going to give it the old try or whatever they call it when it comes to the stream today. We're going to see how it turns out. So if this is your first time here, or if you are watching this on the replay, what we do here is I actually I answer YouTube questions. So as a part of that, if you are new, there's a form down in the description right now, or you can go to nicknimin.com/ask, and it will redirect you to that form, and you can put your question in there, and then we'll get it answered on the stream today. In addition to that, might be looking at channels, if that's, requested and those sorts of things. But the whole thing here is to, help you kind of navigate the complexities of this YouTube thing. So because of that, if you do have any questions, make sure that you do get them into the form. And if not, then, we'll just hang out and, all of that good stuff. So Alaska Marine, what's going on? Hope you're doing great. Diane Dobson, nice to see you in here. Artist Haven, nice to see you. Tish, hey, wanted to let you know that the peanut brittle, Tish, so just came back from Vidsummit, and Vidsummit was absolutely fantastic. A lot of great connections there. We had a Niminati dinner, which was also fantastic. Just, everybody getting together and hanging out. Really good time all the way around. It was awesome hanging out and seeing everybody. But Tish, the Artist Haven, she makes candy. If you were in a stream like a handful of streams ago, then in that case, you might have heard her, thing where she was talking about candy. Let me tell you something. Her candy is absolutely delicious. She had peanut brittle was my favorite thing out of everything that she has. She has some really good stuff in there, but the peanut brittle for me was the bee's knees when it comes to candy. So thanks for that, Tish. Chantel, what's going on? Beanie Draws, nice to see you in here. Boss It Live, glad that you enjoyed the presentation for Vidsummit about narrowing everything down, and really understanding your avatar, because that's something that we talk about a lot here, but we don't really the opportunity to deep dive on it. And Vidsummit is the perfect spot for that. Jevin Dovey, what's up, my dude? Hope that you're doing great. Nice to see you in here as well. It was awesome to see you at Vidsummit also. He also had a great presentation about storytelling. Man, whoever did your artwork for that, whoo, yeah, awesome artwork there with all the symbols that you have for like each segment of the story. Super cool stuff that you guys put together there. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, like I mentioned today, we are looking at YouTube channels if need be. We are answering YouTube questions right now. I literally have one question that popped up in here. So if you have any questions at all, then feel free to get them in there. If not, then we'll hang out and we'll just talk about some other stuff. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Philip Murphy, what's going on? Nice to see you in here. Doug, what's happening? Hope you are doing great. Larry, nice to see you in here. Says my talk was popular. Thank you. Glad that you enjoyed that. Amy Johnson, what's going on? Nice to see you in here. Also kind of co-signing Tish's candy there. That is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to go ahead and answer this first question that we have here. And by the way, if you are just joining us, all you have to do to get your question answered on the stream today is go to nicknimin.com/ask. It's completely free, and put your question into the form, and we'll get it answered on the stream today. So the question here, the single one question that we have today is from Trainer James. Trainer James uploads when they have time. They have been on YouTube for 1 year or more. They have a Pokemon gaming channel. The goal of the channel is to make money. And one thing I have to mention is, because you mentioned Pokemon, is another storytelling presentation at Vidsummit. Because, I was talking about Jevons, that was also about storytelling. And there's another one about Pokemon that was absolutely fantastic from Dan Norton. He helps run the Pocket Monster YouTube channel, and it's a Pokemon YouTube channel. And he also did a presentation on storytelling, and it was also absolutely fantastic. A lot of story stuff at Vidsummit this year, which was great. But the question is, I love making videos because I follow my script, which keeps things moving. I tried streaming for the first time in over 3 years, and I'm terrible at it. I struggle with improv and being on the spot. So really quick, before I continue with this question, if you're somebody that struggles with improv and being on the spot, or you're intimidated by live streaming, just say me in the chat. And I'm just kind of trying to get some temperature here on how far to go with with this particular question. But they say that they are not a high energy person, and they feel so uncomfortable when they try to be a high energy person. And because of this, they don't think that it translates well on streams. Any tips for improving, or should I just keep practicing until it feels natural? So first off, one thing I do want you to know is, just like anything else, when you practice, then you do get better at whatever it is that you practice, as long as you are intentionally practicing. So spending time doing it is different than practicing. But when it comes to, an intentional practice, if you're practicing and you are trying to improve with every stream that you do, then in that case, you will get better. You will get more comfortable. And when you get more comfortable, then that's going to help you get better. I want you to also know, because you say that you're not a high energy person. So I want you to know that when it comes to live streaming, you don't have to be a high energy person. You just have to be able to express the ideas that you have. You have to be able to, do the technical side, of setting everything up, which I'm sure, you've already got that covered. But the best advice that I can tell you for live streaming and getting over the thing of thinking that it has to be super performative is that it's important to just be yourself when you're live streaming. So, for people that are in the chat right now that have met me, this is what I'm like in real life. Of course, I bring it down just a little bit in real life because, I speak louder when I'm on stream, but in terms of, how fast I talk, my movements, things like that, it's all, mostly natural. I just bring it up just a smidge, a little bit for the live stream, because when you're kind of broadcasting out, it kind of brings the energy down just a little bit anyway. So I just try to compensate for that loss, so to speak. So you don't have to be a high energy person. There's plenty of live streamers out there that are not high energy people, but they have the ability to connect with people that are, interacting with their content. So it's more about the value that you bring. It's more about your connection with the people that you are interacting with. It's more about, just you clearly being into what it is that you are doing around, because in your case, you're on Pokemon. Because when you're into it, people can tell that you're into it. And because of that, they'll connect with you just on the basis of that. So because of that, I just encourage you, if you are struggling with live streaming and improv and all that stuff, to just practice, just practice it and try. This is going to be counterintuitive, but, take it seriously, but try not to take it too seriously, right? So take it seriously because, you can use live streams as a way to add a particular type of value, to connect with your audience in a deeper level. However, it's also important to understand that everybody that's watching your live stream, they understand that it's live, right? So when it comes to video content, you have it where, you polish everything up, you cut out your ums and ahs, and you try to make everything as, as nice as you can. The whole purpose of editing is to create that experience for people to where it's just a nice flow of information that you're giving through that content. And because of that, everything's all tightened up and you can cut out the embarrassing parts and stuff like that. But when it comes to live streaming, it's just raw. So you just have to get used to that. And you got to understand that, when people are watching live streams, they're a lot more tolerant when it comes to mistakes and things like that. Sometimes, I'm still jet lagging. Right now it's let's see here. I think it's 8:15 p.m. I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning. So my brain's already unraveled. So I'm going to mess up like crazy during the stream. Not sure if we're going to go the full time or not. We're going to see how it unravels. But basically, during this process, if my brain freezes or something like that, because I'm used to it and I'm used to just kind of rolling with the flow when it comes to live streaming, if those types of things happen, I don't get embarrassed by them or anything like that. I'm just what was I saying? Right. and people that are watching right now, they just see that and they're like, oh, okay, he just, kind of lost his train of thought, and nobody really cares. Right. So just understanding that when you're live streaming, that the pressure that you put on yourself isn't the same as the perception that the viewers are having when they're interacting with you, right? Because you're taking it more from, trying to protect, because you're on the one on camera. So, you're trying to protect your ego, trying to make sure that everything that you're saying is right, trying to make sure that you don't look dumb, trying to make sure that, that everything's just the way that you think that it should be. But viewers, when they come in, they're just wanting that value and that connection. So because of that, just try to lean into that. Tom Nash, what's going on, dude? Hope you are doing great. But the idea is, just try to, enjoy yourself, right? Because when you're enjoying yourself, you have a little bit more fun. Then the people that are hanging out in your live stream, they can pick up on that too. And then it just makes it more fun for you, makes it more fun for them as well. But I'm going to give you a quick tip, and then we're going to move on to the next question. So one thing that I do recommend if you are live streaming is that you do, especially if you're just getting started with live streaming, is one, you have something clear that you are going to be talking about, or like in your case, because you're doing gaming, something clear that you're trying to accomplish. So that thing that you're trying to accomplish might be, taking people to explore a world, and you're going to see how much whatever it is that you can uncover. It could be trying to beat something within a certain time limit. It could be trying to beat something with some type of handicap. For example, I play Fortnite. So in that case, maybe it would be, I'm going to try to get Battle Royale with a pickaxe, right? In that particular case, it gives people a reason, in addition to, the entertainment side that you're doing, it gives people a reason to see, like, hang out and see if you're going to be able to accomplish that thing or not. So because of that, I recommend that you do make sure that you are, trying to build the stream around something, and that you have fallback notes. So for those of you that are intimidated about live streaming, if you're worried about just losing your train of thought and things like that, if you have fallback notes, then what you can do is you can just have a Google Doc open, on your screen. And you can have the bullet points of all the different things that you're going to be, talking about during your live stream. And you can also have some fallbacks. And what fallbacks are is things that you can talk about in the event that things go off the rails. So let's say, for example, you have very clear information that you're trying to get through, or you have very specific things that you're sharing or showing. In that case, those are your talking points that you would put down for the things that you just need to make sure that you mention during your live stream, or the things you make sure you talk about. But the fallbacks are things to where if you just completely blank out about something, then one, those notes should be able to bring you back in. But if not, they're just other things that you might be able to talk about that are in some way related to what it is that you're talking about, or maybe just something else, but just a go-to where you can glance at it and be like, okay, I'm stuck right now. I'm just going to talk about this for a second, right? And that's good in the event that you have like tech problems or something like that. Then you can default over to those fallback notes, and you can talk about those things because they're not critical for your live stream, where the information or whatever it is that you're trying to share or show during your live stream, those types of things might be more critical in terms of the long-term value that your stream is going to provide. So hopefully that helps. Tango in the kitchen, what's going on? Hope you are doing great.
Super chat.
Home Raptor Repair says, at Vidsummit, Nick was the most generous with his time. He was seen helping YouTubers of all sizes for hours and hours on end. Thank you for the love, dude. Super appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat as well, for the kind words. Love it, love it, love it. Tom Nash says, look at Sam Sulek, or whatever his name is. It's a prime example of how being yourself works with zero flashy edits. Yeah, he just goes raw. Same with Dry Creek Wrangler School. He's an example that, that we like to give for that as well, because, he sits there and talks to people. Some of his stuff, has some edits in it, but some of it, is just completely raw, and people, respond, they respond well to it. So let's see here. All right. So next up on the list here, we've got Captain Cataran. Let's see here. They upload one time per week or more. They've been on YouTube for a year or more. They do Star Citizen gaming commentary content. Goal of the channel is to make money. And the question is, I'm now getting YouTube advertising views on one of my videos. I didn't buy them, and they're all from Slovakia. Is this a tactic someone might be using to stunt my channel growth? These views are extremely low watch time in a low CPM country. It has me nervous. So it's possible that somebody is like botting your channel, with those ads, or they're paying for ads for your channel, but it shouldn't have any like long-term impact, because they're going to run out of money. Like, it's not going to be worth it for them very soon. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Like, that definitely is something that's possible. It's also possible, because you say here that you have like 7,000 subscribers. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's all in that game, then yeah. Yeah, it probably is something like weird like that, but I wouldn't worry about it. So one thing when it comes to that type of situation is YouTube can see like where the views are coming from. So for example, if you have advertising views coming in, like it's kind of like a best practice to not run ads on the same channel that you are, trying to grow organically. The reason for that is because of the wide nature or the wide net that gets thrown out for advertising purposes when it comes to trying to bring attention to a product or service. So with that, you can go outside of who it is that you're actually trying to reach. And if those people come in and they start interacting with the channel in some way, like they hit the ad, they come to your channel, maybe they subscribe, and then they start like interacting with the content just a little bit. And then YouTube's like, well, hey, let's start recommending some content to them. Like, next time you publish a video or maybe some videos for your archive. Then in that case, if they don't respond to it, then, then YouTube might say, hey, these people that were interacting recently, blah, blah. So because of that, it's kind of a best practice not to do that sort of thing. However, if somebody else is doing it, they're going to run out of money quickly. And in addition to that, like YouTube is able to see that it is advertising views. So they're not going to punish you per se in like recommendations or anything. Because let's say, for example, if somebody responds great to your content on home pages, they're not going to all of a sudden be like, well, hey, we're not going to show this to anybody anymore just because, somebody threw a few bucks on ads, for this particular channel. Now, if it was like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, like a real ad campaign, then I would, worry a little bit just because of the overflow, right, of people that might interact more with the channel. Glenn Tisk Consulting, what's going on? Says, great to catch you live. What is going on? Hope that you are doing great. Welcome to the stream. K&J Lumber, what is up? Nice to see you here. Yeah, we didn't stream, we didn't, and I didn't stream last weekend. So it's nice being in here, like it feels normal again. I feel like I'm back to my normal life. Yeah, and Doug Houston also mentioned on the ads that might be running on the channel, could be the game devs putting a little bit of money in front of the content about their game for exposure, possibly. Late Apex Garage Vidsummit was amazing, as it always is. It's always great to go and connect with everybody, learn from people. I'm like, waiting for the replays to pop up because, that's where I go in and I really, kind of dig in. I went to a handful of presentations around like, story and stuff like that, and definitely have some notes. But I really take the time I'll just sit over there. Once the replays come out, I'll just sit back there and I'll just like, watch it, take notes. Really good stuff always. Let's see here. All right. So next up on the list here, we got the Teacher Kelly Tag is the name of the channel here. They upload 1 time per week or more. They do teacher advice content. And they say that I want general advice on how to grow my channel. Plus, have you seen the new feature to make playlist a course? I just made 1 course this morning. Yes. Yeah, so just a heads up, because I know that this question comes up a decent amount during the live streams where people ask like, hey, do you know when they're going to drop the course feature? Do you know when they're going to drop the course feature? So they've dropped it now. So that's something that is currently, rolled out to a ton of channels. So you might, if you've been waiting for that, then in that case, you might want to adjust my light here. In that case, you might want to, just double check and see if you have it because even channels that have been dormant for a long time, things like that, like even some of them have it. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I think that's probably a bit much. Dial her back a little bit, and there. Get a little too much blue cast from the light over here on my left, so just trying to dial that back a smidge. All right. There we go. That might be better. All right. So next up. Oh, yeah. General advice on the channel. So here's what we're going to do. Okay. So take a link to your channel. We're on a PC. So we're going to use that shortcut. And then we will hop right into here. Let me take a look at this real quick, just so I can see how that light worked out. Okay. I think it's okay. All right. And let's pull up teacher here. So should I do this in Meld? Yeah, we'll do it in Meld. Yes, I'm using the Meld virtual camera, and we're going to see how well Ooh, look at that. Came out great. Okay. Now I'm going to look at StreamYard here to make sure that everything still is coming through okay there. And I don't even know where that went. So we are just going to assume, there it is. Yep. Okay. All right, cool. So I can just run it out of that then. Fantastic. Okay. So let's take a look at your channel here really quick. Kelly, teacher tags. So you want some advice on growing your channel. Kelly, teacher tags, teaching. I'm not sure what's going on there. So just a really quick thing. So first off, you got like 1.6 thousand subscribers on your channel, definitely heading in the right direction there. But you do have a lot of videos on your channel. I'm going to guess that they're shorts, but we're going to look here in a minute. But one thing that I would definitely do is I would just kind of level up your presentation here a bit. So you can see right up here, you can see that, on a desktop computer, how this looks incomplete. It looks like maybe this was uploaded in here, but the designer didn't actually finish the thing. And it looks like they've, kind of put some stuff over the top of this that wasn't there. So one thing I want to bring to your attention is you have teacher Kelly tag here, teacher Kelly tag here, and then you have teacher Kelly tags and then teaching blah, blah, blah. So I would focus this right here on the actual value that people are going to get from you in terms of your teaching. That's pretty clear. But what is it that you're actually offering here? So just a quick disclaimer, this isn't going to be something that's going to like move the needle for you to make your channel blow up. This is just a little, fine tuning thing to make sure that you are, that you're making it easy for people to understand that you make a very particular type of content for them, right? That's the idea. Now let's get into the important stuff. Okay, so the great jack-o'-lantern. First, let's see. Oh, okay, you're not even like uploading much. Oh yeah, you are. You're doing shorts. Okay, got it. So for long form, you're not uploading much. But when it comes to shorts, yeah, you're cranking out the shorts here. So that's why you have so many videos. Okay, so you're putting out a lot of shorts. Okay, so with that, I would definitely make sure that you are, you don't have to. If you want to just use shorts as your strategy, you can. But a lot of long-term gains come from long-form content. So I would definitely, be publishing more of that. Another thing is if you are going to be publishing shorts, I would definitely make these. Yeah. So I'm not sure like what you're using to clip these, but Opus Clip, I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. I've actually got one of their banners right back here. I'm actually wearing their shirt. When it comes to them, they would position all this stuff for you. So what they would do is they would crop your face right here, and they would put that on either the top or the bottom, and then they would do your whole screen share as well as the other side. So I would use something like that just so you can like make all this stuff look a little bit better. Like information and just talking, it can definitely get the job done. But like if you're really wanting to, present everything in the best way possible, then, try to make things a little bit more appealing, like fill the screen with stuff. Like here, what causes teacher shortages? That's fine. And then you have shortages again. I'm not sure why you would put that there. But you can see whatever it is, whatever document it is that you're showing over here. This is all cut off. So somebody, even if they are interested, one, it's small, so it's hard to see. But two, let's see here. Playing the mom game. What's going on? Nice to see you in here. So stopping by quick to say Vidsummit was so great. It lived up to the hype, and I'm already looking forward to going again next year now that I know what to expect. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Glad that you had a great experience there. Absolutely love it. I knew you would. Shark Scrapper, what's up, dude? Nice to see you. And teacher Kelly tags. So you say you do a lot of live streams. That's fine. Even with those live streams, Opus is going to be able to make all this look better for you. Because like the problem is like, okay, imagine your own viewing habits. If this were to pop up in your shorts feed and you were to see this, the only chance you got with this is somebody wanting to listen, because there's nothing to look at. Like there's nothing going on. Like you can barely see you because you're so small. The document that you're actually highlighting here, and it's big enough that you're actually showing it on screen. Like that is, half of it's not even visible, right? So yeah, I would definitely just start reconsidering how you are. Oh, I see. Okay, so you're changing it there. Yeah, I would definitely reconsider how you're putting these together. Like one thing to think about YouTube, if you're actually trying to grow the channel, is don't look at YouTube like it's a throwaway, right? And the reason for that is because you have to be able to capture somebody's attention when your content shows up, right? I know you say your original live stream has all the information. That's great, but you're showing it to them in the short shelf, right? So your live stream folks, like for them, like they're gonna get that in the live stream. But for your shorts right here, you got to be able to deliver for those people too, right? So like if you want to grow the channel, which is what you mentioned, then in that case, add that value through your live streams. Find a way to do your live streams in a way that that you'll be able to get a better output for the clips that you are using, so you can create that better experience. There. Yeah, like right now, like when it comes to publishing content to YouTube, the elephant in the room, or the big pill that we all have to swallow, so to speak, is that we are competing with everything that YouTube thinks the viewers that we're trying to reach are also interested in. So because of that, we need to show up to YouTube ready to compete in the best possible way that we can. And when you're giving yourself disadvantages, through, how things are being presented, then you are, lowering your chances of like really breaking through. So because of that, you want to try to do everything that you can. So because of that, I just recommend that you just spend some time thinking about, okay, how can I do these streams in a way that will really connect with people. And like, how can I, not the streams, because you're already doing that, but in terms of the clips, like how can I kind of format this stream that I'm doing in a way to where when it is converted into short form clips, that it will, it'll be able to connect with people more. Yeah, if this was like a secondary account or something like that, then this would, like your current approach would make a little bit more sense. But because this is on like a main channel, this is definitely not the approach that I would recommend taking on a main channel. But if this is like a second account for you, to where you're like, or a third account where you're like, hey, I've got my main content where this is all my best stuff, and then I've got like some of these other accounts to where I'm just trying to like, get myself in front of people and drive traffic to like, other things or whatever. In that case, it makes more sense. But like, with this being on your main channel, I would definitely be careful there. One more thing that I do want to bring to your attention also is here you have, and this is really important when it comes to YouTube, is bringing people back to your channel. So here you have teaching degree for free, right? How to get a teaching degree for free. So because your name is teacher, I'm going to assume that this is in alignment with, the audience that you're trying to reach. Here, why teaching is a great career. Okay, got it. Yep, so you're trying to reach teachers there. Coworkers are not your friends. No teacher besties. That's fantastic. Okay, so we got 3 in a row. That's a target for them. Here, teacher summer vlog. I don't know. You got teacher in there, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and give this one a like probably, but yeah, we'll go ahead and let this one pass just because you put the teacher summer vlog in there. This was going to be the one that I was going to pick on you for. Not pick on you, you know what I mean? This is going to be the one here just because it is a vlog. And you're also, and here, this is going to be a quick lesson for everybody. So, we'll just do it this way. Just make it easy. Okay, so one thing I want to bring to your attention, because these are really good examples here right next to each other. So over here on the left, if you are, because you're a teacher, so over here on the left, and everybody here can learn from this. So here on the left, if you remove the title from this, there's nothing about this that says anything about teacher, right? You're hanging out on the beach. You got summer vlog on there. So if this were to show up on YouTube's homepage on the only opportunity that you can have to connect with a teacher on their homepage, and they see this, because you can't identify through the thumbnail at a glance that this has something to do with teaching for that target audience that you're trying to reach, then in that case, the likelihood of them just glossing right over this is going to be very high. However, over on this side, you see classroom transformation. So over here, if you're trying to reach teachers, classroom is going to grab their attention. The scenery in the background is going to grab their attention as well, right? So the whole idea is when you are using your thumbnails, even when you have topics like this, they're just kind of like a little bit, maybe not a laser fit for your audience, but maybe something fun they might enjoy. You still want to make sure that you're getting the right people clicking on it. Because here, somebody could be like, oh, summer vlog, what's that? Click. And then they come in and they might not be interested in any of your teaching content at all. So because of that, putting like, summer vlog for teachers or, summer vlog with teachers or something along those lines, so that it'll grab their attention so that hopefully they'll come down here and read the title. So when it comes to your thumbnails, you just want to make sure that you are always thinking, if my video did not have a thumbnail, if my video did not have a title, then what exactly about my thumbnail would help the target viewer that I'm trying to reach instantly identify that this particular piece of content might be for them? You want to ask yourself that question with every video that you upload. And that can be something, just by putting, the word on there, adding the teacher, language in this case. It can be a game character. It can be, home rapid repair as an example. In his case, it can be a tool or, like a broken something that he's fixed, or before and after, to where, somebody that's into that stuff can easily identify it. If you are into crafting, showing that thing. If you're into genealogy like Amy, then in that case, showing, something that would be related to that, something maybe that looked old or something like that, maybe, I'm not sure, but basically showing, just the type of imagery that's going to help those people connect with it at a glance, so that they'll read the title. That's why you want to kind of work through that, and think of it when you're looking at the thumbnail by itself of how it tells that story without somebody having to read the title. Yeah, right here, Home Rapid Repair says, Roberto told me to wear a construction hat or a jacket in my videos, and the channel-wide views are up now. Yep. Yeah, those types of things are super important. Like the nuance, right, in that type of thing is huge. It's really huge, right? Because a lot of people, I have a friend of mine, he makes like dating content and men's rights content and that kind of stuff. And I've been trying to like hammer these ideas into him for quite some time now. And he can't see it, unfortunately. So, he will, eventually, I hope, but like he just hasn't been able to, to make that connection, and figure out, how to connect with the people that he's trying to reach through not just your thumbnails, but the things that you talk about, how you are presenting yourself in the content, how, like the environment that you're in. Dee's working on a training video right now, for Tuber School. And with that, one of the things that he mentions in there is like an example of, if you're watching like a finance channel and, in their background, it looks like they're not doing well at all, then in that particular, and they're presenting themselves in a way where it looks like they're not doing, well at all, then in that case, you're probably not going to be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I'm probably going to take advice, from this person. Right. So like all of these little nuances, they add up in the minds of the people that are watching the content. All right. So next up, and by the way, if you are just joining us, we are answering YouTube questions. So if you have any questions about what it is that you're doing on YouTube, there's a form down in the description that you can put your question there for free, and we'll get it answered on the stream. And yeah, so make sure that you do fill that out if you do have any questions about anything that you are anything you're doing. So next up, we've got Dr. Vibe Show. They upload 1 time per week or more. They do education and information. And the question is, please review my channel and be very honest. I'm ready for it. I won't duck. Love it. All right. So I feel challenged now. Tango in the Kitchen, thank you for your 14 months of membership. Super appreciated. And I'm glad that you are enjoying the content. Okay, Dr. Vibe Show. Let's see what we got here. Okay, Dr. Vibe Show. And hey, by the way, just in case, because I got to say this, this. So right underneath my image here, there is a QR code. I have an app for YouTubers. If you have an iPhone and you do anything related to your YouTube channel on the go, try it out. It's awesome. So you can scan the QR code, or you can go to the App Store and look for New Creator. It's named New Creator, but I've got all kinds of tools in there that I also use. Like you don't have to be a new creator to use it. I'm thinking of rebranding the whole thing, but it has a thing in there to analyze your thumbnails, to help you make better thumbnails, help you write better titles, content calendar, so you can like manage all the videos that you're gonna be publishing, place to manage and store all your ideas, checklists, all the stuff. So check it out at newcreator.app. Or go to the App Store and just type in New Creator, or scan that QR code if you're watching on a TV or computer or something. All right, Dr. Vibe Show. Here we go. So let's see what we got. Dr. Vibe Show. For you, the morning vibe, learning about living benefits, how to get paid when you can't work. Okay, videos. Okay, let's go to the stuff that matters here. Okay. So your mega plans to invade this homecomings. Okay. So I thought that I just saw a stream here that was like financial related. Hold on. The morning vibe, learning about living benefits, how to get paid when you can't work. Quick and dirty, a smarter way to solve business problems. Primetime Saturday was okay. Okay, so there's a few things that I want to bring to your attention here. So the very first, I'm just kind of seeing where these are at. Are these videos? Okay, so you got a lot of political stuff over here. Okay, so right out of the gate, I don't think that you know who you are trying to, I don't think you know who you're trying to reach with this. Like here you have the role of care in life. Here you have the Epstein stuff. Here you got more political stuff, which is fine. And then here, I don't even know what's going on in this particular one. Okay, so here's what you got to do. First, back to school success for Black families and practical tips. Okay, so the very first thing is that you need, like, if you want to make a difference on your YouTube channel, because I know you've been doing this for a while. If you want to make a difference on your YouTube channel, I would take a step back. I'm not saying like, stop publishing, but I would take a step back and I would say, okay, who is it I'm actually trying to reach with this content? One of the things that you mentioned to me here in terms of the type of content that you make is education and information for Black people and those who love them. So in that particular case, this applies. The homecoming, understanding the experience of African asylum seekers in Peel. Yeah, I guess this one might. United States federal government shut down again. Not so much. Trump clears way for American-owned TikTok value. Nope. Black fathers. Yep. Charlie Kirk, Trump mega violence. Nope. Jimmy Kimmel Live. Nope. Okay, so the problem that I'm trying to illustrate here, and I'm going to explain why this is important. Charlie Kirk impact on Black states and political. Okay, yeah, we'll give that one a yes. And this one might have been something similar. Nope, it's not. Primetime Saturday. Nope. Dr. Vibe Show. Black Canada talking. Yep. Dr. Vibe Show. Black men can talk. I'm going to make this one kind of gray, and I'll explain that one here in a minute. Okay. So, and we're going to put this in as a no. So the problem with what it is that you're doing is, let's say that you bring people in on this political content, right? In that particular case, you're going to have, all kinds of different people that are interacting with this particular content. And when you publish this content, and this content, and this content, and this content, there might be some people that are interacting with this content. They're going to care about this content. But there's going to be a lot of people that also are not. So if you wanted to really start dialing things in on your YouTube channel, the very first thing that I would recommend that you do is pick a lane. And when you pick that lane, you can still talk about the things that you're talking about, but you need to make sure that from the outside and in the content itself, that it's all through the lens of, it's super clear who it is that it's for, right? because like here you have back to school success for Black families, practical tips. So for me, this tells me that you're targeting Black families with this, right? Here, the experiences of African asylum seekers in Peel, New York region, and Toronto. So yeah, this one probably too. And then Black fathers back to school. So like, it's very clear who you're targeting, right? With these videos here, but these fall outside of that. So in terms of like, these being political, that's one side of it. But like here, it's a completely different type of value. And the problem with this is, let's say let's say that you reach that, target person that you're trying to connect with. They come in, they watch this video, like, wow, this is great. I love this. I'm going to subscribe to this channel. This is exactly what I've been looking for. Then YouTube says, oh, great. They like this channel. Let me, or not let me, but YouTube system's like, hey, let's show them some of the, these recent videos and see if they like any of these. They show them these 2 videos and they don't respond to them because they're not into that stuff. They're into this. And let's say they show them, that next video that you publish, which is this one, and they don't respond to that one either. Well, in that particular case, what you are doing there is because you are not in alignment with who it is that you're trying to reach topically. Then when they don't respond to this, that tells YouTube that, hey, that person that responded great to this thought they were a good fit for this, but apparently not, because they're not responding to these videos that we're showing them from this channel, right? And then that ends up hurting you long term. So because of that, I would follow along with your value proposition, and I would make every video that you publish about that core value proposition from your channel, which in your case says education and information for Black people and those who love them. If you are talking about those types of things in these videos that I've marked in red, which you might be, you need to make it crystal clear from the outside also. And the reason for that is to ensure that the right people are clicking on every video that you publish, and that the people that you're trying to reach know that it's relevant to them. That's the idea. So I would make sure that you, really, really dial that in. Now, the next thing is if you look here, the title of this one is the Dr. Vibe Show, and then you have information, the Dr. Vibe Show, and then you have information, Dr. Vibe Show, Dr. Vibe Show. So in order for these, because remember, you're reaching English speaking people, we read from left to right. So when this shows up, right, and somebody sees, Trump up here, if they're like, oh, hey, what is this? They come down here, they're going to see the Dr. Vibe Show. What is that? And then they're going to say Black Canada Talking. Okay. Whatever. But like here, you are optimizing for the show. You're optimizing for you. Let me do it that way. You're optimizing for you, not for the viewer. So by making the packaging here about you and putting the Dr. Vibe Show first, you're making this about you and not about the viewer. So how you want to start writing your titles when it comes to all of these is, if you are going to put your, show name in there, put it at the very end, right? So do either a hyphen or a bar and then put the show name there at the end, which you don't even have to do that, because, even with that, people still have to, know what that is in order to want to click on it anyway. They have to know what the Dr. Vibe Show is. And really, if you want to grow your channel, you are trying to serve the people that are into your content, and you do that by making the video topics about what it is that they care about. But you also have to make sure that you are packaging everything up in a way to where, man, I just completely lost my train of thought. So here's that jet lag kicking in. Anyway, don't use the Dr. Vibe Show in your titles unless you put it at the very end. Okay. Make sure the first thing the viewer gets to read is about the content and how that content might matter to them. Right. So the, Black Canada Talking, Trump's rising authoritarianism. Like when you are writing titles like that, put the Dr. Vibe Show at the very end, and then make it like one easy to read sentence. And then by doing that, you are going to, one, make the content more accessible, and two, people don't need to know who you are for this content to be relevant to them. That's what I was getting to when I lost my train of thought. Yeah, because like, for example, this live stream that you're watching right now, I could, and I've done this, I did this like way back in the day. I could say Niven Live with Nick and D Niven. right? I could make that the title of this. But when I do that, the only people that this is relevant to is people that are already familiar with the show. So because of that, you have to already know who we are, and you have to already know what the show is in order for that to matter to you in any way, shape, or form. The goal that you're trying to accomplish is that from the outside, that if you are trying to reach certain people that are interested in certain things, that you make it crystal clear from the outside that your content is about those things that matter to them, so that they can identify that and come in. And then you do it consistently over time. So there's the whole, idea of content buckets, all those, all that stuff, which is absolutely, true. However, what you're doing isn't that. Okay. What you're doing is completely different. You're mixing audiences on your channel, and you're essentially working against yourself every time you flip flop back and forth. So because of that, I would just sit down and I would think, okay, who is it that we're actually trying to reach here? What's the value that we're trying to bring? And how can we serve them in the best way possible, with the content that we're putting out, and then just double down on whatever that answer is. That's what I would do here on your channel. And I would work on the nuance too, in terms of, like politics. Yeah. Talking about politics is great because, it's trending, all that stuff. But that a lot of this doesn't seem like it's in alignment with what it is that you tell me that your channel is about. Like when you ask questions and stuff like that, because your tagline here is education and information for Black people and those who love them. Like the video here on Trump clears way for American-owned TikTok valued at $14 billion. That doesn't align with what what your channel is about. All right. Let's see here. So next up, really quick, Banging Gears Garage. Thank you for the super chat. Jevin says, I submitted a question. Not sure if it went through. If it did, skip it because I got to take off. The kids just woke up. All right, man. Have a great rest of your day, man. Thanks for swinging by. Banging Gears Garage says, do you think it affects the YouTube algorithm if you post multiple videos, shorts, or combinations of each on the same day? So when it comes to YouTube, their system will send out 3 notifications within a 24-hour period. So when it comes to long form content, you have that limitation. Shorts don't get notifications. So because of that, that's not a big deal. So that's why they have the checkbox in there to notify subscribers or not, because if you are putting out more than 1 or more than 3 videos a day, then you want to make sure that you are, making sure that the most important stuff is the stuff that's getting the notification. But the answer to this is it really depends on the type of content that you're putting out. Some people put out a bunch of videos per day and it's perfectly fine. Some people put out a video a month and it's perfectly fine. So it really comes down to the people that you're trying to reach. Is there enough people that are interested in the topic that you're talking about to publish a lot? 3, can you sustain it over a long period of time? Those types of things. But in terms of their system, everything is a response, or everything is response based. So if you are publishing more content and people are continuing to respond to it, then in that particular case, then, it's going to help. If you're publishing a lot of content and people aren't responding to it, then it doesn't matter how much content you publish. If people aren't responding to it, it's not going to move the needle for you. So because of that, don't look at it. Let me actually just look at your channel here real quick just to see what you're doing. Okay, you're already in motion. Okay. So yeah, so like in your case, 7 days ago, 6 days ago, 8 days ago, 9 days ago, all that's fine. As long as your viewers respond to the content well, then you're okay. But by looking at this, let's go back to 90 days because that's what really matters. Oh, okay, you just started publishing again. 7 months, some big gaps in here. Okay, so here's what I recommend. So it looks like maybe you're doing some very specific car shows. So if you're doing specific car shows, if there's any buzz around those car shows and getting some of those videos out, it can be advantageous for you if the interest in those is higher. If you're just featuring like a car for each video, then in that particular case, you can just put those out, at a regular pace. You can get a whole queue built up. So then that way you don't have long periods of inconsistency like you currently have here. Also, just a heads up, in your long form video titles, you don't need to put like hashtags in there. Putting video 2, video 1, not going to help you. Same with video 3 and video 4. Those types of things can actually work against you because video 4, it kind of suggests to new people that there's 3 other videos they got to watch to catch up on that. So just be mindful of how you're writing your titles there. Let's see here. So next up, Dr. Vibe just says, I'd like to thank you for your honest takes. I survived. You did, man. You made it. Oh, love it. So next up, we've got Joyful Trails. They do bi-weekly content. They do bike trail reviews. They say they recently activated Super Thanks. They already received a $5 donation before even mentioning it. What's the best and simplest way to encourage donations through Super Thanks without coming across as a digital panhandler? I don't like asking for money. So when it comes to Super Chats, people take different approaches. For me, I just answer questions. I just, like with everything I do, I just, I'm just like, hey, here's what you need. Here's, the information you need, whatever. And then, people just, do it based on them wanting to do it. So it's not something that I try to encourage people to do. However, there are plenty of people that are, like, hey, let's get these super chats rolling. We're trying to hit this goal. YouTube even has goal things that you can set and things like that. So it really comes down to your personal, preference. But since you mentioned here that you don't like to, come across that way, then in that case, just making sure that you're adding, enough value that people will want to, contribute. That would be the approach to take in that particular case. Other things is, in what type of content did you say you made? So you do bike trail reviews. Yeah. So in this one, like other things that you can do is like sometimes I do channel reviews here. And back in the day when we used to do channel reviews, we would have like the regular live stream is 3 hours. Then we'd have like another like 3 hours of doing channel reviews. And people used to super chat as a means to get their channels pulled up. And in that particular case, it was like a service of sorts, right? Where, hey, we're going to pull it up, give you kind of like a first impression, review, and then we're going to move on to the next one. And then people were doing that as a way to, get their channels up, get a tip or two, and then, and then move on from there. So in that case, it was more of a service. So it really comes down to, what you can offer, the value that you bring through your content, and, your audience's willingness to, to super chat as well. Tango in the Kitchen, thank you for the super chat. Speaking of super chats, says, is it worth it to get the replays for Vidsummit? Also, definitely will plan to go personally next year. The dates are in my calendar. Yes. Yeah, it is. So there's, other people here that that went also. Amy, have a great rest of your weekend. There's other people here that went also, and they'll tell you, like, it's absolutely fantastic. Like the information that you get, like the vibe of the whole thing is great, and just connecting with people is great. But the information is also really good. Like, in my opinion, and not to toot my own horn, but I know, like, just on, myself, Jevin and Roberto's, and the, I would say, because I went to a nice handful of presentations, and I would say, just like mine, Roberto's, Jevin's, especially if you're like, needing more storytelling, help, just on those, like that's more than worth the cost. And then everything else that you get on top of that is going to be a bonus for you. Let's see here. Boss at Live says they plan to go in person next year too. The virtual pass was great, so I definitely want to experience in person. Yeah, talk about leveling it up, right? So so the virtual pass. So yeah, she mentioned right here the virtual pass was great. That's essentially what you're getting with the replays. So when it comes to that virtual pass, that's yeah. Get the replays. You'll learn a ton. Artemo, what's going on? Thank you for the super chat. Says Niminati forever. Vidsummit was unreal. Thanks for inspiring us all, Nick. Yeah, glad you enjoyed it. Glad that that you had a great time there, and it was awesome getting a chance to connect. Tom says that they have that Sony lens. Nice, isn't it? It's nice. Yeah, I decided, I was like, hey, during this live stream, I'm just going to tag the stuff that I use, because then that way, when people ask, then it just makes it easy to highlight that stuff. All right. So next up, we got It's All His. They upload one time per week or more. The type of channel is faith-based money management. And the goal of the channel is to make money, to make some moolah. And the question is, should I recycle seasonal content, example, holiday saving tips, or just remake the videos? Are the best practices for recycling content? I'm a small channel, just monetized. Not sure if that factors in. Yeah. So I would recommend to make new refreshed versions, because as you continue along, you're going to get better at editing. You're going to get better at presenting the information. You're going to get better at like every aspect of it, as long as you're intentionally trying to get better. So because of that, I would remake the videos every holiday season, for the sake of, you know, being able to refresh that. And that's perfectly fine. You're allowed to do that. No problems at all when it comes to YouTube. And that's a better approach than downloading it and, you know, deleting it and then re-uploading it again. The reason it's a better approach is because when you delete a video off of your YouTube channel, you're actually deleting yourself from the watch histories of the people that have interacted with that video. Now, if they've interacted with other videos, you're in the clear, but if they just interacted with you on that video, then when you delete a video off of your channel, you're deleting yourself from their watch history. So then it kind of breaks that data connection between you and that person. So then when you publish a video, even if it's a good fit for that person, they may or may not see it. Whereas if you kept that video on your channel, then in that particular case, if you publish that video, it's a perfect fit for them. YouTube's already like, hey, this person, you know, was interacting with the channel previously. This video is doing great, even though they might not be that, you know, core viewer. You know, we've broken through like a few, audience barriers, so to speak. So let's show it to them now, right? So that's why like YouTube recommends that you don't delete videos off your channel at all. But we usually recommend that you only delete videos if they're not in alignment with the audience that you are actually trying to reach with your content. The Hobbyist Miner says, pleasure meeting you at Vidsummit. I met you after your presentation, asked about where to find top videos my subscribers are watching in the metrics. Ask Studio looks amazing. Awesome. Nice meeting you as well. Glad that you enjoyed Vidsummit and the talk as well. So next up, we've got How We Got Here Genealogy. They upload 1 time per week or more, does family history content. The goal of the channel is to connect with others who like what I like. And the question is, what does it seem like videos I put weeks into researching and producing don't always do well as those I put together quickly? Yeah, it's a common thing when it comes to YouTube. Like a lot of people, you know, report that same thing. I've had it happen to me too, in terms of, you know, I spent 4 days on this video and, you know, it just didn't do that great versus, you know, I spent, you know, like literally 2 hours on this one and it does awesome. So, you know, that happens sometimes. But sometimes, and this is going to sound kind of, you know, counterintuitive, but sometimes, you know, when we put, I mean, you want to put the time into your videos, right? Like you want to put the effort in your video to make sure that it is, you know, as good as it can be for, you know, the viewers that you're trying to reach. However, sometimes you overcomplicate things. You know I do. Sometimes I'll do it that way. Sometimes we overcomplicate things as creators, and you know, that extra time spent isn't always spent in the best ways. And sometimes when we put it together quickly, we are moving through just intuition on how, like, okay, I know I need to have this, I need to have this, need to have this. This isn't perfect, but this is exactly what it needs right here. And then I'm going to add this and this. Let's render it out and get it done, right? So, you know, you're just intuitively moving through it versus, you know, over analyzing everything. And then sometimes people respond well to it. But on the other side, sometimes all people do is they do that intuitive side and it never works out for them because they're not taking that time to, you know, to learn it. So by spending that time working on it, you are giving yourself time to like really analyze what it is that you're doing, thinking about, hey, this part here, is this really going to add value to viewers? Do I need to put a pattern interrupt in here somewhere? Like, you know, like, and really start to, you know, understand what's going on. And that makes it to where when you do spend less time or effort on the video, you already know more of what to do and you do it more correctly, even if it happens faster. Woot Bakes. What's going on? Thanks for super chat. Says, my shorts have been averaging 1,000 views, and then my last short only got 50 views. Why do you think that is? So sometimes we put out content that, you know, that people respond to well. Sometimes we put out flops. It happens, you know, to all of us, to where, you know, sometimes, you know, it just doesn't go the way that we want. We publish content. Sometimes, you know, just like we don't optimize things right, where the topic or just the content itself, it might not be as clear who it's for as the previous videos were. There's other things too, like, you know, you can go into your traffic sources for that short and just compare it to your other shorts and see, like, are you getting all your views from the short shelf, or you picking up some views from search somewhere, and to kind of better understand where those views are actually coming from. But yeah, sometimes you just put something out and it doesn't land. In addition to that, another thing to consider is that when it comes to shorts, you might have, published them at different times to where, maybe, a certain day of the week is, more competitive for your particular audience compared to another day of the week, those sorts of things. Long term, long form doesn't really matter that much, but when it comes to shorts, those types of things can, impact you in the immediate. So it could be stuff like that too. But, like one thing just to remember when it comes to, YouTube is that when you are publishing videos, there's just so many moving parts going on with their system. And, if you don't nail it every single time, then you can have videos that underperform like that. All right. Yeah, Tom here. He says, sometimes great videos flop, sometimes bad videos work. Viewers may respond great to what you think is a bad video. Don't assume. Yeah, preach. Absolutely. Absolutely. Us plus Dad, what's going on? Hope you're doing great. Nice to see you in here. Davidson's All Natural Gym. What's happening? All right. So next up here, we've got Gardening with Bear Brown. They do educational content. The goal of the channel is to be a full-time full-time content creator. And they say, hey, have you heard of the Road email scam? I sent an email and opened the link. I felt so dumb, it looked real. I checked my computer and it said I have no malware on my computer. How do you protect yourself from this? I don't want to open any more collaboration emails again. I've noticed that some scams in the past, but I did not catch this one. Yeah, so people do that for all kinds of different brands. Like scammers, they will, take the time sometimes to understand, like a niche, and then they'll target all the creators in that niche based around the things that creator might care about or that they might click on. So like in your case, they sent you out something, related to Rode. You're familiar with Rode products. I don't know if your content, is about that or not. Let's see here. What did you say? Oh no, it's gardening. Definitely not. But anyway, like you opened it up and they got you anyway. So yeah. So like when it comes to that sort of thing, like opening the email itself shouldn't be the thing. The link is the thing you got to be careful of. So the rule of thumb for everybody here is you got to make sure that you never download a PDF from your email if it doesn't come from somebody that you know. You got to make sure that you don't click links in your email unless it comes from somebody you know. You want to make sure that if somebody claims to be a representative of a company, you want to check to make sure that their email is coming from that company email so that you can verify it. If it does not, and it's coming from some type of PR company or something like that, then in that case, you can hop on Reddit or hop on Twitter and either DM the company or at that company and ask them, hey, I had somebody reach out to me, on behalf of your company. I just want to make sure there's a lot of weird stuff going on YouTube right now. So I just want to make sure that, that you're legitimately working with these people. And then they'll let you know yes or no. And, the idea, verifying the person exists on LinkedIn. Artemio mentions that. Artemio, sorry. And that one almost works. But the problem is these scammers are getting so good that they're even setting up LinkedIn accounts or hacking LinkedIn accounts too. So I have a video on my channel. What's the name of this? Something along the lines of I had a brand try to scam me, and this is how I did it here. Hold on, let me see. I'll tell you exactly what it is. YouTube hackers tried to steal my channel. This is how I caught them. In that particular case, I'll just drop this link in here for you. But in this particular case, what happened was there you go. I just dropped it into the chat here for you. But what happened is they set up Twitter accounts, they set up LinkedIn accounts, they set up everything. And I went and I was looking around and I was like, man, this seems legit. Let's keep going just a little bit more. And I ended up catching them through their domain. So their website name. And I show you how to do that in that particular video. But basically it was their website domain was from a registrar in Russia. And that was like red flag because, this person was claiming to be, I think it was, I can't remember if they're in the US or Hong Kong. But basically they, it just didn't match up. So I was like, red flag. And then I started messing with them a little bit, trying to get more information from them. Yeah, well, the fake accounts. So one of the things they do on the fake accounts on Twitter is they will private them. So they get the account, they'll have a bunch of followers on it, but then they'll private them. And I think they get the followers, they either buy them or they get the followers from all of the outreach that they're doing. But with the private post, they just have people follow them because they think it's a brand contact. Same exact thing goes with LinkedIn in terms of, they will have connections over there, unfortunately. At least, the one that I caught in that particular video, they had all of that stuff. If it wasn't for the domain, I might have fallen for it. Let's see here. So next up we have Jevin. He said we can go ahead and skip this one, but I'm going to do it anyway because if he's asking a question, I know this is going to be good. So Jevin, he does creator education and filmmaking. Excellent YouTube channel, by the way. Look up Jevin Dovey on YouTube. I'm actually going to go ahead and he put the link in here. I'm just going to make sure that this is his before I drop it into the chat. Yeah, he talks about like drones and stuff like that, but he also does a lot of like creator education stuff. He has like courses and things like that. Amazing storyteller, Jevin is. But let's hear. So his question is, where's the line between teaching the craft and living it? As someone who teaches adventure filmmaking, YouTube, and storytelling, I wrestle with how much time I should be creating the kinds of story-driven films I teach about versus focused on creating the how-to content for my audience. Do audiences truly need to see me making them consistently to trust the lessons, or is that just me overthinking? I think that it's overthinking. And the reason that I think that it's overthinking is because when it comes to, what it is that we do specifically here, I think that Jevin, in your case, you got over 1 million subscribers on your channel. And with that by itself, you have already illustrated that you know what it is that you're talking about. And on your channel, you publish videos and, some of those videos do well. And because of that, you continue to show that you know what it is that you're talking about. So because of that, I think that you are doing a mix of, teaching the craft and living it. I think that, people like you and me, Jevin, which I know that you mentioned that you're walking away. So this is for everybody else here, just in case you watch this on the replay. But for people like you and me, our brains, we see the content that we publish and we think of the numbers at scale because we have videos that have done well. Like you and I, both have we have a collaboration where I think both of our videos got like over 1 million views on that collaboration through that playlist. But like we have videos that that have done well. We have videos that do well, and as a part of that, through people that we've worked with, through friends that we have, and all of those things, we see, people operating at just large scales all of the time. So it's really easy, I think, for us, like if you have a video that you publish and it gets, like 10,000 views or 20,000 views, it's easy to go like, oh my gosh, that just got like 10 or 20,000 views on it. But really it's good, like it's good to get, like if you can get 10,000 views on a video, like you're doing all right. If you can get 20,000, you're doing, all right. So like, I think that, it's cause I get kind of lost in that sometimes too. And I think that it's just easy for us to just kind of detach from like, the idea that, that you don't have to get tons and tons of views, in terms of like, every video that you publish doesn't have to go viral, in order to have successful videos. So there's that. And then in addition to that, through the experiences that we have and that we've had, I think that it's kind of a disservice not to be, sharing that information with people. So that's my thoughts on that. Tom says, we want all our questions back. Dude, so I was in there actually this morning. So I have this like dashboard thing that I just finished up, and I had some like time before I was going out. So I was just kind of digging into that channel. And I went and I actually edited the end out of some of the videos in there because the retention on those were spectacular. But I always killed it at the end. So because I would go into these big long things. So for those of you that don't know, here, I'll actually pull it up real quick. So for those of you that don't know, I have a YouTube channel, an old YouTube channel. It's where I cut my teeth on YouTube, called All Our Questions. And this is the channel that Tom is talking about. And basically on this channel, great. I loved making the content on this channel. Absolutely loved it. But it took forever, right? Because I was new to YouTube at the time. So, it took me forever to make the videos, took me forever to research the videos, all of that stuff. But yeah, absolutely loved making content on this particular channel. But basically with my retention though on these, like the retention would be really high. And then I would do this stupid stuff at the end where I would just like talk and talk and talk and talk like after the content's done. So like, for example, here, like, let's say, we'll say on this one, like, why do your feet stink? At the end of this, I probably say something like, and that's why your feet stink, or, and those are your odds of being born, or let's grab another one. And that's how hot the sun is, or that's how big the Grand Canyon is, or whatever the thing is. And then after I complete the video, I spend another, 45 seconds being like, oh, hey, and, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. If you know a friend that would, and then I would talk about whatever the thing is and try to get people to share it. And like, I just had these big, long things I'd go through, and the retention's just like, boo, on those. But, live and learn, right? That's how it goes. But yeah, so I went in today actually, and I was like, hey, I'm actually going to cut some of these out, just for the sake of, just getting that part out of there just for fun. Funny that you mentioned that. David Matt, hey, what's up, dude? Hope you're doing great. Says my biggest takeaway from Vidsummit is I need to lean into story more for myself. So, one thing that I need to lean into story more, and I need to lean into branding a little bit more. So I used to be like really heavy on the branding side, like when it came to, things I would do in my videos, when it came to things that I would say, wearing my own merch, like all these other things. And I used to be like really big into the branding side, and that stuff works like a charm. And I just stopped doing it just to focus more on, publishing the videos, and leaning it all towards the viewer. And I scaled back from doing that. And I need to, do more of that. And then two, introducing more story into my content, because even though it's educational content, there is a lot of place where I can, I still do the starting right now, in a lot of the content, not always, Tom, but I still do that though. But basically with the, storytelling, there's just a lot of places where I think that would be advantageous in terms of, just like personal anecdotes and things like that, to not only for the sake of just keeping people watching, but also for the sake of, relatability, because, like that whole rant that I just went through, about, Jevin, like I've been doing this for a long time and have a lot of, experience through it. And because of that, I think that there's a lot of stories that I could, or references that I could make through story that, that would not only, connect, but that would also add value to, content creators that are either just starting this, or people that, that are, getting that foothold, so to speak. Deneen says, where can I find motion graphics? You can get motion graphics on tubertools.com. That's my website. You can also get graphics on, what's it called? Video Hive. That's an Envato product. If you type in Envato into Google search, they also have like an all-encompassing thing where you can, it's paid, but you can get like video graphics, you can get like Photoshop graphics, you can get sound effects, you can get like all kinds of stuff over there. But yeah, that's also a great place to get motion graphics. Okay, so next up, we've got Living in Fayetteville, North Carolina is the name of the channel. So the channel is about moving to their city. They're a realtor. And the question is, I need help, better hooks and intros. I saw your YouTube video about intros and it helped a lot. I'm still seeing the trended hockey stick. Any other advice? Yeah. So when it comes to the videos that you're publishing, the very first thing is to make sure that you are, just kind of meeting the viewer where they're at when they come into the video, and thinking about when somebody sees your thumbnail and your title, you're creating an expectation for them. I'm going to pull up your channel here real quick. But you're creating an expectation. Actually, I don't need to pull the channel up, but you're creating an expectation for them to where they're thinking like, oh, I'm going to watch this because blank, right? They're probably not thinking it out that far, but like they're expecting something when they click on it. So just trying to make sure that one, that you can deliver on that in the whole video, but two, also to make sure that when the video first starts, that you are confirming that they're in the right place, right? So maybe, whatever the framing is of the video, it doesn't have to be the exact title that you say, but that expectation, right? Just confirming with them that they're in the right place is one thing that can help with that. But keep in mind when it comes to that drop, the autoplay makes a difference. Where they're coming in from makes a difference. There's a lot that goes into that. But yeah, just really trying to capture them as they come in. And other things too, experiment with you on screen, you not on screen. When it first comes in, like you not on screen, but you're showing like B-roll, right? But you're talking, have it to where, you're just doing a lot of experiments there at the beginning to see if you can uncover patterns. Like, it seems like when I do this, they watch for just a little bit longer compared to when I do this, right? And see if you can uncover some stuff there. Let's see here. So let's open your transcript up. Does it start with that? Hold on. Let me get your thing here. Hit play. Okay. You think about using your VA loan, but you have no idea where to start. Okay. So this right here, this type of intro can be okay. But what you're doing right here, it almost sounds like here. I'm just going to open this up for everybody. So what you're doing here almost sounds like a video sales letter of some kind. And I know that you're a real estate person, so you're a salesperson. So I know that some of this stuff is just kind of like intuitively there. But keep in mind, right? Like here, okay, we're gonna read this together. So says, or you think, so I don't know if that was cut off or what, maybe it's supposed to say do, I'm not sure, but it says, or you think about using your VA loan, but you have no idea where to start, feeling overwhelmed by the real estate jargon and lingo. Trust me, I understand, we understand. Do you have a question like, how do you qualify? How do you apply? What benefits come in? So first off, you're going through like all of this stuff, right? So one thing, 10 common mistakes veterans make with VA loans, starting this one with something like, you're a veteran, and I'm just spitballing this with jet lag brain right now. I'm like trying real hard to hold this together, but let's see here. So, 10 mistakes veterans make with VA loans. You're a veteran, you're having trouble getting a loan. No, let's do something better. Because they're clearly a veteran if they're going to be clicking on this. So you don't even have to say that, but you can just for that confirmation in there. If you're a veteran and you're having trouble getting loans, if you're a veteran and you're having trouble getting a loan, there's 10 mistakes that a lot of veterans make. So you're making it okay, right? There's 10 mistakes that a lot of veterans make that make it almost impossible to get a loan. I'm going to tell you what those are. And if it was my video, I'd say, and we're starting right now. But the idea there is right now you're going through all this fluff, right? And you can add some of that later, but right when it starts, you need to grab their attention in like the fastest way that you possibly can around what it is that they care about, right? So, you're connecting with them. They're a veteran, telling them that, they're having trouble getting a loan. And then, putting that fear up there, like, like it's going to be, these mistakes make it impossible to get a loan or whatever the thing is. And then reassure them that you're going to help them, understand those particular mistakes. And then you're going to get into the video itself. And then once you get into the video itself, that's where you can say things like, hey, look, I know, when you are, going to get a loan, they can be overwhelming. I've been there, I help people with this stuff, but, and then, go into whatever the thing is. But yeah, I would experiment with those types of things when the video first starts. Just thinking about, okay, if I'm trying to reach, in this particular case, you're reaching veterans. So you would think like, okay, the mistakes, the person clicking on this, one, what might they be expecting from the video? But two, why would they click on this? Right? 10 mistakes that veterans make. So they're probably going to click on this because they're a veteran. They're probably going to click on this because they don't want to make mistakes if they go to get a loan, or they're currently looking for loans and they're having trouble. So this is something where they might expect to get an answer of some kind of something that they might be doing wrong that's preventing them from getting the loan. So let me reinforce all of those feelings and emotions when the video first starts so that I can capture them there so that they'll listen to the rest of the stuff that I have to say. Let's see here. All right. So next up. But yeah, the whole idea though is just to make sure that you are experimenting, like experiment a lot with, all the stuff that you're doing in the beginning, and use your sales experience, because that is definitely valuable, because you're going to be mindful of a lot of things that, a lot of, content creators that don't have that experience. You're going to be mindful of a lot of things that they aren't aware of, but just think about it through the lens of like psychographics. Like, are they, why are they clicking on this, and how can I meet them there and reassure them, like hype it up a little bit or build it up a little bit in terms of, like leaning into that reason that they clicked. And then how can I, reassure them that I'm going to, give them some insights that might help them solve that problem. Star Wars Shadow is the next channel here. They upload 1 time per week or more. They do entertainment content. The goal is to be a full-time content creator. Question is, hey, Nick, I just hit the first level of monetization on my channel. Do you have any insight on what the process looks like when you apply, and how long does it usually take to get accepted? Thanks. So in terms of the process to apply, once you have that monetization, then in that particular case, you have to make sure that you have an AdSense account. And then from there, you apply for it. And then in terms of how long it takes to get accepted, I'm not sure off the top of my head. But it's relatively fast. It's not some long process that you have to go through. Roger Wakefield in the house, my man. Hope you're doing awesome. It was great seeing you at Vidsummit. Hope you're doing awesome. Eric's Everyday Projects, what's up? So next up, Tom Nash here. He also puts this here, and I think this is, let me read through it. It says, thousands of veterans are losing money every year on a simple VA loan mistakes that take just minutes to avoid. Before you sign anything, watch this, because one wrong checkbox could cost you. Boom. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, but those are the types of things to experiment with when it comes to starting the videos to help you get over that hump. So the Unleashing Potentials podcast, they upload 1 time per week or more. The question is, how do I get more subscribers or views? How do I reach people in my niche? So you have a podcast centered around healing, community, and story sharing, and you want to get more views. Okay. So first off, the very big elephant in the room that I just have to mention, I don't even have your channel pulled up yet. But the very first thing is that obviously you got to be talking about things that that people, care about, right? You have to, make sure that the podcast itself is solid, and that when people do get into the podcast that they, stick around, and they watch it. But I'm looking at it right here, and we have the power of sharing your story, find peace within yourself, awakening design. Okay. Yeah, that's all good. Voice has power, share your story. Yeah. So I think your thumbnails are actually, okay. So it might be the content itself. I'm not sure here. Human design and deep listening, transform lives. Yeah, I think the topics that you're talking about and everything, I think these align with what it is that you are offering as well. So one thing that I would do though on your channel, because you're not getting a response on any of these. One thing that I would do is I would experiment a lot with the thumbnails. And I wouldn't use the text that you're doing. So it looks like you are you're modifying the text style in the titles. I wouldn't do that because the whole idea when it comes to the titles, you want to make sure that it's just easy to read and easy for people to understand. So because of that, I wouldn't do those types of things there in the title. And yeah, I wouldn't commit to a thumbnail template that isn't working well for you. And also into human design and trauma healing for women. Okay. So one other thing too, and I'm just going to mention this. So when it comes to like a couple things. First, it looks like you're committing to this style of thumbnail here, and it doesn't seem to, be working, that well for you yet. And you've been committed to this for 3 months. So continue to experiment, right? Because you've experimented a lot here. So continue to experiment. But a couple other things too. Here you have your voice has power, share your story, change the world with Bambi Lynn. So that's all fine. How to soothe stress and anxiety and return to your true self. I think that's okay too. Goliath on becoming secure. Yeah. So you can see here how you're modifying the look of the text here. Like, I know you're probably doing that as a means to stand out, but don't do that. Just make these like super easy to read for people, without doing that type of thing. Also, when it comes to some of these titles, healing burnout and anxiety, I don't know. I think that might be okay, with psilocybin, Julie Hagen and micro dosing. Yeah. So here, man, I'm going to click into it anyway. I wasn't going to, but let me see what's going on here. Transcript. Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host. Okay, so first, when it comes to these, make sure that you are adding a hook in the very beginning. So, of course, your thumbnail and title are part of your hook, especially for podcasts, but they are for everything. But one thing that I would do is here you have, hi, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Unleashing Potentials podcast. I'm your host. So I would recommend that you kind of build this up a little bit first. So when it first comes in, saying something along the lines of, burnout and anxiety, it's awareness, it wears everybody down. Our guest today, Julie Hagen, is an expert, blah, 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 and she's going to so on and so forth, so that we can help you, overcome that burnout and anxiety, and just kind of give all of that context, like right when it opens, instead of the hi, everybody, welcome back, things like that, so that somebody at least has some of that context, like as they're going into the video itself. And then because I guess this is, more focused on the audio. Hold on, let me see the settings here on this. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is like a 360p video. So if you can, I would definitely upload higher quality versions of this also, because I know it's there for the podcast side. But if you are going to upload video, I mean, this is better than just like a screenshot. Don't get me wrong. But, try to upload at least 1280 by 720, 1920 by 1080, as, more preferred. But yeah, I would do that just to get your quality up. And the reason for that is because, this is a longer piece of content. This is like almost 53 minutes long. And there's a lot of people now that are watching this stuff on TVs. So because of and big computers and, screens and all that stuff. So because of that, I would definitely get that quality up there, so that when people are consuming it on those, it'll make you and the guests look better if you are uploading higher quality things there. And I'm not sure what the sound quality is like, but, make sure, because it's a podcast, make sure the sound quality is good, as well. And then I would definitely work on the hooks there. And then for the titles too, like, there were some of the titles like, past life regression, discover your soul purpose and heal. I think these are okay, titles, but, some of these I believe are, titles that somebody could just kind of, like, it could show up on their home feed and they could be like, I'll watch that later, versus like, this seems like this is something that I feel like I need to watch right now. Right. So because of that, trying to, modify that in a way, like, for example, past life regression, discover your soul purpose and heal, yeah, I'm kind of 50-50 on that one, because it's informative. And it's a podcast, so they need it. They like, because it's a podcast, you want them to not be super like reactive, but you do want them to, be reactive enough, to actually click on it and come into it. Because the past life regression, it's interesting, but nothing about that title. And this is the one I'm talking about, because I'm kind of leaned back here. But nothing about this is like, oh, I like need to listen to this, right? Intuitive human design and trauma healing for women. Yeah, like the titles are informative, but they're not super compelling. So yeah, so thumbnail template, that work on the hooks when it comes to the podcast as well, or what happens right when it opens. And without actually listening to it, that's what I would work on for now, just from what it is that I'm seeing from the outside. Oh, let's see here. So next up, we've got. Yeah, and I know that and you say thank you so much, my pleasure. But and I know it's kind of vague a little bit in terms of like to make it more compelling. But what I'm looking for there is just like trying to think about it through the lens of the people that you're trying to reach. So like in your case, you're talking about things that you care about, and you're interviewing guests that you think are that are worth talking to about those subjects based on their experience and things like that. And when you're packaging up your content in terms of the titles that you're writing, try to think of it like, okay, if this were to show up in my home feed when YouTube is trying to show me all this other stuff that I'm interested in, how could I write this title in a way that would make me not only stop and see what it says, but it would make me feel like, oh, if I continue scrolling, I might miss out on something, right? I might miss out on something that might add value to me here. Instead of it just being, like an informative thing, right? Like that's what I would try to work on. And you say, should I put the titles in all caps? No, you should not. Yeah, with your title, you want to make them easy to read. All caps is not easy to read. So you want to use title case, or just use like regular, writing where you capitalize the first word and then you go from there. Use that. Don't use all caps. YouTube actually did a study, and keep in mind, things change on YouTube, and this was a few years ago. But one of the the guy that actually runs like YouTube's homepage and is responsible for like the recommendation system, their homepage there. One of the things that he mentioned was that, and you can find this in a Creator Insider video. One of the things that he mentioned was that they, across the platform, they found that videos that use all caps typically get clicked on less. It doesn't mean they don't get clicked on, but it just means that they found that titles with all caps get clicked on less. So again, things change. Don't know if it's still that way, but that was shared. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. Geology Dude is the next channel here. They upload 1 time per week or more. They do science, education, and rock identification content. And the goal of the channel is to make money. And the question is, could you please review my channel? I'd love to hear your impressions. So let's see what we got here. Okay. Oop, wrong one.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right, let's see what you got going on here. Okay, so Geology Dude, virtually immersive education channel specializing in 360-degree and 3D rock mineral presentations. That's cool. I've pulled yours up before. Okay, so Crater Lake and Wizard Island relief map. So is this a, hold on, is this a rock? Oh, okay, so you're on these maps of these different areas. Okay, yeah, I mean, you have on here that it's a relief map. The thumbnail imagery itself, that definitely seems interesting. And then you have right here, you're also clearly stating that it's a relief map of that particular area in California. Here also, you're being clear about that. Here, not so much. So here you have that it's the actual monument, but you don't say anything here about it being a relief map. And I'm not sure if it is, but you just don't mention that here. But you do mention that in some of these other videos. One thing that I would do in your case, though, is I would try to, get your consistency together just a little bit more so that you can, just kind of give yourself, a better shot here in terms of, tuning things in. Okay, it looks like you're doing more shorts than you are the long form content. So shorts are great, and shorts can, do well, and they can grow the channel and all of that. But the thing like here with long form content is it gives you the opportunity to bring in like, a lot of views like over time. Which shorts can do that too. But if you look in a lot of channels, like shorts will, they'll be cruising and then they just kind of boop, Amanda says, who was that voice? Uh-oh. Yeah, so I have a thing on here. Is this muted? No, it's not. Is this muted? Yeah, it might just came through somewhere. I'm not sure. Oh, no. You mean on the like button thing. Yeah, so that voice is Mike Russell. So he has a voiceover, or not voiceover, but he has a company where he makes stuff like that. It's called Music Radio Creative. He made that one. He made this one.
Thanks for watching Nimin Live. Remember to check out our sponsors and other useful resources in the description.
Yeah, so that's Mike Russell as well. And then this one here is Travis MCP.
Super chat.
MVP in our world. And so is this one.
Welcome to the Niminati.
Yep. What is this?
Welcome to the Niminati.
Yeah, that's Travis too. Beanie says he met Mike at 2018 Vidsummit. Yeah, Mike's great. Absolutely fantastic. He does another channel now called Creator Magic. It's really good. But anyway, yeah, so back to here. So I think that shorts is cool for this because it does, get you in front of people, interested in these, types of things. It looks like you're getting, a few hundred views on, every one. But I think that, these also have some potential with them. But I think doing shorts here is fine. But one of the things that you mentioned, if I scroll down, is that the goal of the channel is to make money. So in order to make money when it comes to YouTube shorts, unless you're getting sponsorships or have a product to promote, it can be challenging there compared to long form content. So if the goal of the channel is to make money, then in that case, I would use your shorts right here to bring attention to the channel just in general. And then I would publish more long form content. And the reason for that is if the goal of the channel, which what you said here in the form is that the goal of the channel is to make money. So because of that, I would be publishing the content that has the highest likelihood of making money. And then, figure out how to do that in a way that your viewers will respond to. Let's see here. So next up, we've got, man, I'm fading like, whoo. It's CharlieVest Reacts is the next one here. They do American Reacts channel. The goal of the channel is to have fun. And the question is, should I only react to the Netherlands or various different countries? Also, should America Reacts be in my title or not? Sorry for two questions. So let me see. React to the Netherlands or to various countries. Let me just take a quick look at what you're doing here. Renee, it was awesome seeing you at Vidsummit as well. As always, it's always great getting a chance to hang out. So here, American reacts to road and street signs, road and street designs in the Netherlands, backpack across the Netherlands. Yeah, so a couple of things with this is because you are doing reaction content. Oh, is that Mark in there? Oh, it is. Nice. Yeah, I got to hang out with Mark at Vidsummit as well. Yeah, that's great. Love seeing Mark in there. But yeah, so when it comes to you locking yourself into the Netherlands, if you're doing reactions, technically, if you're doing American Reacts too, like if you're thinking themes, right? If you're like, okay, I'm doing American Reacts to this in Netherlands, American Reacts to that in the Netherlands, American Reacts to this in the Netherlands. Well, you are kind of doing it over here with the European food etiquette. Okay, hold on. Netherlands again, Dutch, more Netherlands. Yeah. So like if you're in Netherlands, then, do what you got to do. Right. But I think that your theme could be American reacting to things in the Netherlands, or just American reacting to, and then fill in the blank. Right. So American reacting to this in the Netherlands, American reacting to this in, the UK, American reacting to this in any place that you travel to, just making a bunch of content, in those areas to all the different things that you might be able to react to. So you can keep that theme if you're traveling around. But if you're not traveling around and you're in the Netherlands, then in that case, you might be doing that, unless you're doing everything virtually. If you're doing it virtually to where you're on like Google Maps or Google Street View or something like that, or you're watching other people's videos and reacting to them, then in that case, it's a little bit different, and you can just go with the American reacts things instead of, locking yourself down to the Netherlands, unless you're just wanting to be niche specific to the Netherlands. That's your call to make. But I think that you do have the option to, broaden this out, quite a bit, because then it can become more about you reacting to all kinds of different things instead of just reacting to things in the Netherlands. So it'd give you the opportunity to kind of broaden things out a little bit. Because some of these videos, here, let's see what you got here. What's this one? First time you realized American really messed up, part 3, TikTok. American reacts to 6 lies America told about Europe, life in the UK. Yeah, so some of these, I mean, it's 3 years ago though, but like some of these, yeah. So one thing too, like I don't know if these are still getting views or not, but like if you go into your analytics right now, on the very first page, if you just scroll down when you first go into your analytics, you're going to see the videos that are bringing in the views right now for your YouTube channel over the last 28 days. You can go into your advanced mode and you can sort that to however last 90 days. So with that, the thing to consider is if you do have some of these other locations that are bringing in viewership, like even here, American reacts to first time you realize American really messed up, Americans living abroad, like these popular videos here, like, let's see, what is this one? Realize American really messed up. Yeah, like people seem to like this, right? Because you have it here, you have it here. But yeah, basically go in your analytics, see the videos that are bringing in views currently. And then from there, you're in the USA reacting to videos. Okay. Yeah. So then in that case, like I would experiment with reacting to like all kinds of different places. So if you're going to be like strategic, because you said your goal is to have fun, but if you were, doing this as a way to, generate revenue, then in that case, you could also figure out like the places that you react to that do generate, higher ad rates and things like that. And, kind of lean into those places. You can also experiment with reacting to a bunch of different places and then seeing, what people, seeing which ones, seem to do the best. And then just making pillars on your favorite locations or the ones that, that people tend to enjoy the most. You will be traveling and doing some vlogs in April. Yeah, so you'll have the opportunity to do Netherlands stuff there. But it doesn't mean just because you're going there, it doesn't mean that you have to, that you have to make them all about that. Yeah, it looks like that American messed up thing is definitely a theme for you. So you might want to lean into that as well, which I'm sure you probably already are. Let's see here. Okay, so next up. Yeah, I think the American reacts, that can be your theme. I mean, you can experiment with not putting it in there and trying to make something, a little bit more, exciting when it comes to your title. But, if you are trying to build your theme around American reacts to, then in that particular case, you are, you can own that, you can be like, oh, hey, it's the American reacts guy, right? Versus, hey, it's that guy that, makes react videos. It's like a thing, right? So it's a bit of sorts, right? Yeah. So because of that, just deciding if you want to, make that your thing. If so, then, you have the opportunity to do it. Okay. So next up, we've got Mr. Jessup Kids Learning Channel. is the next one here. They've been making videos for a year or more. The type of channel is kids learning and entertainment. And they say they want to know whether that they should be on screen all the time or more cartoon animation instead with my singing along, and any other tips that you might have. So in terms of you being on camera or putting cartoons on the screen, that's totally your call based on what it is that you're trying to build. This is one of those scenarios where where it would be good to sit down and spend, a few hours or maybe a few days thinking about like what it is that you want to build. Like, do you want to build an animation / cartoon channel, or do you want to build a channel where you are the person in the show? And then based on what it is you come, or, based on the answers to those brainstorms, that would be the direction to go into. Because, you could do both, but the problem is if people come in and they're really digging the cartoon animation, and then they click on the videos where it's you, and then they're really there for the animations because they really love how you do those. And in that case, it might create some type of disconnect, and vice versa for the people that come in there for you. Like, for example, like if you watch my content and then all of a sudden I started putting out, a bunch of, cartoon videos, then it would be like, oh, this is kind of, wonder what he's doing with this. Right. So it would be, a little bit of a disconnect from what it is that you normally expect from me. So yeah, I would think about what it is that you're trying to build, and then go from there. Imperial Remnant does daily content, goal to channels to make money. The question is, after an all-time high in May, my channel is on steep decline. Views are as bad as the first week I launched. I'm working on my titles. They're bad. But I'm at a loss for this severe drop overall. I did a last 90-day comparison to the 90 days before them on impressions, CTR, average view duration, and returning viewers. My watch quality has actually improved, so I think the videos themselves are good. Impressions are way down along with CTR. Returning viewers are also down. I've heard other large Star Wars creators saying interest as a whole is down. But I don't want to lean into that as an excuse. I want to fix the problem. Sorry for being long-winded. Any actionable advice would be huge. Okay, so I'm going to look at something really quick. Trends.google.com. And then we are going to go and look at your channel. We're just going to, actually, we don't even have to do that yet. Let's just go here, go down to United States. I'm just going to put in Star Wars. I'm going to do search term. I'm going to do Star Wars lore. Okay, and we will do, since you did the 90-day comparison, let's take this 12 months. Let's just go wild here. Okay, so just a quick search here on Google Trends, and this is the web version. We'll take this to YouTube here in just a second. And if you have any other ideas for things that I might put in here to try to uncover this, but I did Star Wars lore because that's the type of channel you have, and then I did Star Wars just to see. But here, the web search, it looks like, it was down, had a big spike, and then we are, kind of coming back, kind of back to normal here. And then if we go to YouTube search, and also just a quick disclaimer, this is all like at a glance, like I definitely recommend that you dig in more, versus just looking at this. But it looks like from here, like April to the end of May, beginning of April to the end of May, looks like it was solid. And then now we've had a drop that's taken us back to, whatever the normal thing is. So, it looks like there, might be a decline like right now. I'm just curious here. Yeah, so it looks like it is kind of normal. Let's just do a quick look here. So we've got May. So we'll just say May. Here, April, May. That's interesting. Let's go to 2024. So I'm just curious. April, May. Yeah, so it looks like even though the spike isn't as big, it does look like it is higher around this time, and then it starts to go down a little bit, but it did have another little spike here. And then what is this? May again, right? Yeah. So it looks like this might be kind of their pattern of release. Maybe, I'm not sure. But by a quick glance at this, and again, I would dig around more, right? But at a quick glance at this, it looks like, this is just kind of on pattern right now. So it might not be necessarily, something that you're doing wrong. Like your friends, that also make Star Wars content. For them, they might be seeing that same thing just because interest is down, right now compared to the peak. So it just kind of makes it look, a little bit worse. Other things when it comes to making the content, and I know you're doing lore, but if we take this down to, I'm just curious what's going to come up here. So here's some stuff just in the past day that's, breaking out a little bit. Lego Star Wars, yeah, that might not be. So Star Wars La Guerrilla de los Clones. Attack of the Clones, maybe. Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron. Star Wars Rise of the Resistance Ride. Piano Guy Star Wars. These are just things that are, kind of breaking out. So, just keep these types of things in mind in terms of things that you might want to talk about, maybe. If you are trying to, ride that, ride out the turbulence, so to speak, that might be a way to do that by kind of digging into that a little bit. Star Wars scenes in the last 4 hours. Star Wars ride, Robot Chicken, Star Wars. You probably don't want to do that one. Yeah, so some of these Star Wars planets, maybe. Excuse me. Yeah, if you're just joining the stream, I'm still recovering from jet lag. So I'm rolling on like hardly any sleep right now. So my routine when I come back from the States is that instead of like forcing myself to my regular schedule, I just kind of naturally let it, kind of fall into that. So it's just been great waking up at like 4 a.m. and 4 a.m, 5 a.m, since I've been back. Loved it. Absolutely love it. And I enjoy this period of time because it doesn't last long. So because of that, I'm kind of a bit out of it at the moment. So that's why I was yawning. So I apologize. Okay. So next up, we've got Davidson's All Natural Gym. Beanie says he has life lag. Love it. Let's see here. So they do farmstead and sawmill content. The goal is to have fun. And they said Vidsummit, what was the good and the bad? And what would you like to see them do in the future? Oh, interesting. So the good, always great to connect, always great to learn. It's an opportunity to learn from, people that are, experts in the field. So it's just a great way to just connect with other people and have, conversations that are, just outside of, the norm in terms of, the conversations that I might have, for example, with like, friends at Starbucks or, something like that. So, that side is good. In terms of the bad, nothing really outside of my legs hurt from, standing a bit because I got new shoes before I went. Anytime I go to the States, I always get new shoes because they just normally fit me better. But this particular pair of shoes, they had this like on the top of them, it was kind of digging into my foot a little bit. So I was always having to kind of adjust myself a little bit. So because of that, my legs were pretty sore afterwards, but it was worth it. So no worries there. The bad also, Daryl wasn't able to make it. He had some things. I'm not sure if I'm, supposed to be talking about those or not, but yeah, some things came up with Daryl. So he wasn't able to make it. Unfortunately, that was definitely bad. The things I would like to see him do in the future. So I think, and they started moving into this, like right now, they had some like a tax talk about like YouTube and taxes and stuff. And I think that was great. But I think that one thing that would be very valuable for Vidsummit with the people that go to Vidsummit is some type of financial planning conversation in one of the talks. I think that would be helpful to people there. And the reason for that is because, there's a lot of content creators that they just don't have, that financial literacy, and they run into YouTube money, for lack of a better way to say it. And they start getting YouTube money. And when they get YouTube money, they're like, oh my goodness, this is great. I'm going to go buy a car. Like I'm going to go get a Lambo or, something like that. And they don't understand YOLO, whatever, right? Like YOLO, like do your thing. But, they can not understand the long-term impact of some of those purchases. And they also might expect the whole thing to last forever, when the average lifespan of a content creator, people do it for much longer, but the average is like 7 years, according to Matt Koval, who was YouTube's previous creator liaison. So because of that, I think some type of financial planning talk there would be really valuable, because it would prepare people for that, and it would just bring things to people's attention that they might not necessarily be thinking about when it comes to the income that they're making from their channels, and what they should do with it. I think that would be just really advantageous to the community at scale, for content creators. I've actually mentioned some of those things in a talk that I did. I think it was like 2 years ago. I mentioned like a book for that one, for just getting people started. It's called Simple Path to Wealth is the name of the book. And it just kind of breaks down, the concepts of, of money and what things really cost. So for example, and these are some of the, this is why I think this talk's important. So, like a content creator, let's say they get a brand deal. And that brand deal, let's say it's a, multi-six-figure brand deal. And because of that, they're like, okay, this is great. I've got like money coming in now. So I'm going to go buy like a Mercedes. And they go and they spend that money on a Mercedes. And to them in their brain, they're thinking, okay, well, I have, this, multi-six-figure brand deal, and I'm only spending however much, the Mercedes is. And they're not thinking about if they would have taken that, if they would have gotten like a lesser car, right? And then they would have taken the difference, and they would have invested that into like index funds or something safe. And then, they had that sit there, and then they kept contributing to that, that it would end up being, it could, depending on how young they are, end up being, a substantial amount of money in the future. And I think that people not knowing that information is like, as more and more people are become successful on YouTube, because every year more and more creators are making more and more money on YouTube. And I think as that continues to happen, I think that if people aren't prepared for that, I think they can make some decisions that will end up with regret, lots of regret. So because of that, I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Roberto Blake in the house. What's up, dude? Hope you're doing great. Says he'd like to see more hands-on workshop in the future, and he'd like to lead multiple workshop sessions where people can ask questions. Yeah, I wanted to do a AI one also, on showing people how to build tools for creators. Oh, hey, Roberto, you're using the Brave browser, right? I want to show you this here real quick. So my dashboard, I've got just a couple of small things I got to fix, but check this out. Boom. So yeah, so this works on Chrome, it works on Edge, and it works on Brave also. But this is a free browser extension I'm putting out for everybody. This is I'm going to be submitting this very soon to Google, to their Chrome store. But you can use it in Brave and a few other ones, like the ones that use Chromium. You can use it. But basically, as a quick launch doc here to all the different social media platforms. I also put, some AI related stuff in here, but you can basically go in here and select whatever platforms. I'm going to add more to that too. You can also add custom links in here. So you can just quickly jump to whatever it is that you want. So if I want to go to Google Docs, open it, hit that. If I want to run over to Creator Mix, I can hit that, whatever. But it's just a really quick jump. In addition to that, over on this side, I have a news feed for content creators. And then I'm also going to be putting more like educational content and things like that in here. So basically what I'm doing is in my new creator iPhone app that I have, in this and in the SaaS version of my new creator tool that I have, I'm basically pulling this news feed in. And then as this news feed over here, it's just making sure that people know what's happening when it comes to YouTube. And then also as a part of this, I'll be putting my, some of my content and other content creators too. Like for example, if I run across a video on like color theory, then, I might put that in here because it would be relevant to content creators that are making thumbnails, right? Like that kind of stuff. But here, quick launch to like different places in your YouTube channel, quick like stats overview, little quotes to, keep people fired up. World clock. So this one I made for me, but other, creators can use it too, but you can break this down to just one time zone if you want. It can be local, or for me, because I, like I talk to people like, in like, London, Australia, LA, New York, all that stuff. So because of that, I have the different time zones up here for that. A little to-do list for the day. So you can go and you can mark those off, as you get stuff done. Got a little confetti that happens when you do. Pomodoro timer. So you can, work, in blocks. And then this channel monitor is, I put channels in here that I like to watch in terms of, things that I like to consume. And then I also put in some, other channels too. So I can see like, hey, did they upload, how the video's doing, that kind of stuff. So when somebody publishes a video, then I can see it all right here. And then you can also adjust this based on your screen size and preferences also. And you can add up to 18 channels here. So there's all of that. And then if you look at the background here, you can see the vibe. So this whole thing, by the way, it works in your new tab. So if I hit this button again, then you can see it opens this up here. So instead of it just being like Google in a search bar, you turn it into this. And then you can come in here, see if you can see that, yeah. But there's like a wallpaper gallery where you can like change, what it looks like. So you can see now it's got like this, red thing here in the background. You can add blur effects, you can lighten it, dim it, stuff like that. But all kinds of fun, stuff there for that. I'll put the space one back in there because I dig that one. And then when you go to YouTube, you have some extra stuff in here. So let's say we go to Rob's channel and then we go to Rob's videos tab. And then here I can go and I can look and I can see, and you'll be able to do this too on other channels that that make content like you. But it shows me the top videos that they've had over the last 90 days. Shows me their total uploads in the last 90 days. This includes videos and shorts and live streams. How many days on average between uploads, the longest gap. Shows me videos that have popped, so I can identify outliers quickly by looking for the spikes there out of the videos that they've published recently. You can see them here too, but it just kind of shows you when they popped. And then I can also look at upload cadence as well, just to get some insights on exactly when they are publishing. And then on the video watch, and I'll be adding more, like everything you're seeing right here that I'm going over with you real quick. This is all just like, minimum viable product. So this is, to get it out, get people using it, get feedback, all of that stuff. But I've got tons of really cool ideas for this. And then you also have to where, like, let's say we click into one of his videos here. Over here, you have like a view, it just shows the views, the duration of the video, the likes per view, comments per view when it was published, and then total likes on the video. It's got a thumbnail here, so if you want to take it, you can. But it just kind of shows you, the thumbnail of the video, and then it shows you all the tags that are being used for the video. These buttons that I have in this personal tool, there's a Google Map feature in here, Renee, that shows the Starbucks where D is. A little game you play. It's going to go right down here in the bottom. So it's where's D, and you hit it, and it shows different Starbucks in the world of where D might be. That would actually be hilarious, by the way. But these buttons that are right here. So I have these in a personal tool that I made for myself. But I'm gonna add these here also to where into this tool also after the MVP gets out, where it shows like the transcript, to where you can download the transcript, you can copy it. And then I've already got the quick links into the other things there, but also I'm going to be adding here to where it shows the links that are in the description. So you can see, are they promoting stuff as an affiliate, like what's going on there, just like a little, information panel. And then one of the things that I've been telling people about is, if you are somebody that's struggling with getting views on your channel, it can be helpful to try to understand what you're doing differently than the people that are doing well. And one of those things starts at the thumbnail. So let's say in this case, I click on one thumbnail here from Rob, And then I come here. I'm just going to pick it, just a random video here. And then I go to, here, we'll just go into one of Matt's, go to videos, and then we'll click on this one. Then here it gives you that option to do that comparison, where you can say like, okay, what's he doing that I'm not doing, right? And then it shows you the title, and then you can select it. So like, let's say for example, you want to keep this one and then go look for something else. Then I can just hit the compare to this, and I can go find another thumbnail to compare it to. In the future, this is going to also have a video embed as well, to where you're going to be able, when you click watch the video, to where it's actually going to show an embed instead of taking you to the page. But the idea here is that along those same lines, when I talk about making sure that you are comparing yourself to people that are doing well if you're not doing well. So you can just kind of, see like, hey, what is this person doing that I'm not? That embed feature will let you play, like 5 seconds of their video, 5 seconds of yours, 10 seconds of their video, 10 seconds of yours. So in that way, you can try to get a feel for like how they're starting their videos, what they're saying when the videos start, what they're showing, all that stuff compared to what it is that you're doing. It's kind of the idea. But there's that, and there's just like a few other tools in there, but that's like the base version. And then from there, I'll see if you guys like it. And if you do, then I'll keep working on it and keep making it cooler. So yeah, that's the thing. But super pumped about that. All right. So let's see here. Next up, Beanie says, is it hard to program all of this? So no. So I'm using AI to build it. And when it comes to building it, there's tools that help you do it. So for example, for the browser extensions, when I do those, I'm using Cursor. And Cursor, inside of that, you have different models that you can use. And I use the Claude models for that. And the problem when it comes to these things is the planning side. And, trying to figure out, like, okay, is this something that, would actually work in here? Is this helpful? Should I add this? Should I not add it? Those types of things. But the actual build isn't that difficult, because when you run into problems, you just say, here's another, like this isn't working. This is what I'm running into. But you have to just learn how to be very specific with, with how you're communicating. And then from there, it's pretty easy. Now, where it does get complicated is like the apps. So the browser extensions are easy. But when it comes to the apps, those are more complicated, because you have, more security things. Like for the dashboard, when it first goes out, there's not going to be like, you don't have to create an account, anything like that. You actually even bring your own API key. So this is more for nerds, but I got a video that shows you how to set it all up. But with this, like, I'm even going to get some blowback on people like having trouble figuring that out. That's fine. I already know that. But when I add accounts to it, then in that particular case, then that's where things start getting a little bit more complicated, because then there's like security involved and all that stuff. So you have to learn about all that stuff and make sure all those things are locked down. So that's where it starts getting complicated. And then when it comes to the apps, you have to build those in a special software for Apple, or at least publish them through it. And their requirements are, pretty strict and all of that. So you have to be really careful about, the decisions that you make and how things work and, all of that stuff. All right. So next up on our list here, we've got the Mandarino Adventures. They do daily content, Disney park content, and they say, what are important items to add to the video description that are standard practice with every video to make it nice and professional as I continue to improve the uploads? So you want to make sure that you have links to other videos that are relevant to that particular video. So for example, if you have people coming in for a specific park, a specific Disney park, like let's say you're going to Disney World instead of Disneyland, then in that case, having other Disneyland videos down in the video description. You can do videos, or you can do videos and playlist, or just playlist, your call. But basically making it to where if people go down to your video descriptions, you make it easy for them to find more content that they might care about. And then all you're doing there is you're just facilitating the process, or you're making that process easier for them, to where as they hit your video description, if you have a little blurb about what that video might be or that playlist, and then they click into it, then bam, they're in there and they're interacting with another piece of content, and it's all based around what it is that they care about, right? So that's why you want to make sure that it's relevant. So if you have a Disney World video, then in that case, you could put a Disneyland video if you wanted to, but I would put the Disney World videos up there at the top, because if they're watching a Disney World video, then it's likely that they are interested in Disney World. So then you'd want to put that. But then to let them know that you do have those options, like, hey, I've also got Disneyland, or I've got, the Disneyland or World, whichever one it is, in like Tokyo, then in that case, you could put that one down there too. But I would prioritize the things that are, relevant to that particular video. Roberto, I can send you a link to it. It's not live yet. It's going to be coming out real soon. So I set up my Google developer account this morning. I still have some things that I'm doing on the website for it. And then once I get that done, and I have like 2 bugs that I have to fix, and then once I get those covered, then I'll be submitting it. So it'll probably be submitted on this coming Wednesday. And then after it gets submitted, however long it takes to approve, but I can send you a zip file, and then you can load it unpacked if you know how to do that. So for that, you just put your browser into developer mode, and then once it's in developer mode, then you can load extensions unpacked, and then there you can go in there and use it fully, or you can just wait until they approve it, and then I can let you know then. Thanks, Roger. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. So let's see here. So next up. Oh, yeah. And another thing, too, when it comes to your video descriptions. Also, when it comes to your video descriptions, make sure that you do, describe the video as well, of course. And then you can, if you want to, since you're doing Disney stuff, you could add hashtags down there if you wanted to, so that you can make those types of connections. If you like Disneyland or Disney World, so that, you might show up in those hashtag results pages. So you could do that. And down in your video descriptions, if you do have any type of like Disney stuff that you sell, then making sure that you do add that to your video description as well, because a lot of people think that video descriptions are useless when it comes to people actually going down there, but people do go down to your video descriptions, and especially if you prompt them to go down there, but people will still go down and explore descriptions on their own too. Mason Dude Now is the next channel. They have been making videos for a year or more, and they question is, welcome back, thank you. Says, I want to do vlogs whenever I do something interesting because I sit in one place every day. I want to have unique videos, so I don't want to be a creator that blends in with the others, if you know what I mean. I do. I don't know what I want to ask, but any advice for vlogging? Do reactions or art showcases or any unique type of videos? And also, how do I deal with the device storage and keeping important things at the same time? Because it sucks as a creator to deal with. I guess that's the question. Hope it's not too long. No, it's fine. So in terms of storage, some people use a cloud. Some people will set up like, NAS systems where it's basically like a box. And then in that box, you have multiple hard drives, and then they back up. It's a RAID, so that basically you write to like 1 or 2 or 3, and then it'll automatically back up to like 1, 2, or 3 as well. So then that way you create backups of everything it is that you have, so you can make sure that you have all of that. I am a little bit more messy when it comes to backing stuff up. I put everything on externals, and then I'll back up that external. And then inside of this cabinet over here, I've got a bunch of external drives that are just filled with a bunch of content. So you can do those sorts of things, cloud, NAS, or using the drives as a way to manage all of that. When it comes to the different types of content that you want to do, what I recommend is that you, and this is the hard part of starting a YouTube channel, is thinking about exactly what it is that you want to offer, because you're building a body of work over time, and you want to make sure that you're thinking about, okay, I'm building a body of work, so I want to make sure that I'm making content about things that I'm interested in, but I also want to make sure that I'm adding value to a particular type of viewer that's interested in specific things, so that I can, 1, get known for something, 2, because that's one of the things that helps you stand out, so I can get known for something, 2, so that they'll want to keep coming back and watching my content, 3, that if they do run into my content, they can explore my YouTube channel, and while they're exploring my YouTube channel, most of the content on my channel is going to be relevant to them because I'm focusing on that particular type of viewer, right? So it's easy for people to binge watch my content, easy for people to refer other people to me because that's the thing that I'm known for, right? So so just really sitting back and asking yourself, like, what is it that you want to build, and what is it that you're the most interested in, and the reason you want to think about what you're interested in is because you're going to be making content for a while. So you want to make sure that, at least for the good, 3 years, 5 years, that, I mean, that sounds like you're looking way out at that time, but it's going to go by quick when you're, in motion making content. So just thinking to yourself, like, what can I make that I'm really going to enjoy making, that I think I'm going to enjoy making over the next, let's say 3 years minimum. And then leaning into that. And also, what are you able to make, right? So for example, like some people would love to make Mr. Beast type videos, but they don't have the budget for it. So that immediately disqualifies them from making that unless they can, track down financing somehow. So like if you're vlogging and you are wanting to do your vlogs in a certain way, then in that case, just making sure you can do them in that way that you have, in your mind. And if you can't now, then starting to learn how to do that so that as you're publishing videos, you can, improve rapidly. That would be the approach there. All right. So on that note, I want to thank everybody for hanging out. I'm going to shut this down just a little bit early today. My brain's like really starting to unravel here. So I'm going to wrap this up. And I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope the questions that we answered today. I hope that if we didn't pull up your channel or if we didn't get to your question, hopefully, the information that you heard about some of the other, channels that we, looked at or talked to, that, you got some value out of that. So have a great rest of your weekend, and make sure you hit the like button on the way out. And yeah, I will see you next time. If I can find this StreamYard here. So I'm using this virtual camera here inside of, there we go. Okay, in stream. All right, I'll see you next time.